All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kwadash, which is the true name of the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, all two great kings, the gods that the King James Bible speaks of, which again, the true name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh and His only begotten Son, who the world of ignorance calls Christ. True name is Yahweh Shai. Second of all, I want to give double honors to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Elder Tahar, and on down there rule well. And third of all, I want to give a peace and safety to the hope for the elect out there, the brothers that push this truth, the truth of the King James Bible, and all truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe. All right, so I just want to do a short lesson, or however long the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai allows it to go. And this is going to be a video concerning the build-up of the beast ultimately coming up against the horde, which the beast that's spoken about in the book of Revelations with 7 heads and 10 horns is talking about the Northern Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, and the European Union, the EU, all right, which America, which is Babylon the Great, Mystery Babylon, spoken about in the book of Revelations, is a part of NATO, is a part of the Northern Atlantic Treaty Organization. But the Most High is going to cause it's like the Lord is going to set the Egyptian against the Egyptians and turn them other NATO nations outside of Babylon, against America, aka against Babylon the Great, aka America, Salakia, and shoot missiles on this place. All right, even though they are allies. All right. And Lord Wills, brothers, can see on the screen. This is the first article that I have. I actually have two, but this is the first one I want to go into. All right. And it says, this from the RT News, and it says most EU citizens back breaking from US. All right. So again, most EU citizen, European Union citizens back breaking from the US. All right. It says a new German survey, which Germany is a part of NATO. All right. Survey shows that 63% of residents of the bloc wanted to go its own way. All right. And the last time Trump was in office, Trump's last term, he was frequently speaking about how worthless NATO is, and they're not paying their fair share. And if they don't start paying their fair share, he was going to pull Babylon out of NATO. All right. Which all that is the buildup of the beast, which again is NATO. All right. The Northern, again, NATO and the EU, which again, Babylon the Great, aka America, is a part of NATO. All right, but the scriptures also refer to Babylon the Great as the whore. And the scriptures say that the beast, which again is NATO and the EU, shall hate the whore, all right, which is America, Babylon the Great, and make her desolate, destroy this place, all right. And again, we're seeing the buildup or that division, more and more division within the beast. Even their own citizens, they're calling for, they believe that Germany, which when you read Daniel the 2nd chapter, it speaks about the 10 toes, some iron and some mixed with moderate clay, which Germany would be iron. They're one of the stronger nations, all right, in NATO, all right, and they want to separate from America, all right, because again, when Trump's last term, when Trump was in office last, he was heavily speaking about, pulling America out of NATO because they're not paying their fair share. America is doing way too much, and the other NATO nations and European Union nations ain't doing really nothing. All right. And he might come back with that same energy. All right. When he gets inaugurated. All right. On January 20th, 2025. But it says the majority of residents across the 27 EU members states believe the bloc is too dependent on the U.S. and wants it to go its own way. And this is, well, it's going to explain why, ultimately why they want to do that. All right. But it's either in this article or the next article, Salakia, about them wanting basically to go back to Russia, buying energy and things from Russia. All right, which some of them was still doing it anyway. But Russia accounted for a lot of their natural resources, such as oil and things like that. and they're hurting. Biden, released a lot of America's oil reserves or whatever to them to try to help them out, but obviously it ain't enough. All right, because a lot of these YouTube channels or whatever, these truthers or whatever, have been saying that now that we're coming into the winter months, it's going to be pretty brutal over there in Europe because of the lack of oil and things like that, natural gases and things like that. All right, because there's a lack thereof. All right, because again, they stopped purchasing those things for Russia because of the whole Ukraine and Russia thing. All right, but it says on the U.S., it wants the U.S. to go its own. So I can read it again. The EU member states believe that the bloc is too dependent on the U.S. and wants it to go its own way. And they also see America crumbling as well. A new poll has suggested, and I'm going to try to pronounce that, poll both Americans and citizens of the 27 EU member states, while some concerns overlap the survey results, suggesting the bloc has become more independent-minded following the re-election of Donald Trump. Because again, Trump might come back with that same energy saying that, look, y'all got to pay more. All right, we're paying, we're doing way too much and y'all are doing very little. All right, and if not, we'll pull, because again, he wanted to pull out of NATO at one point. All right. It says the poll suggested that 63% of the EU citizens wish the bloc would go its own way, compared to just 25% in 2017, while 51% of the EU residents believe the U.S. is their most valuable ally. The most screw order, only 38% of the 18 through 35 coordinates back Washington, while that goes up to 63% among those aged 55 and over. Meanwhile, 25% of Americans polled think the bloc is their most valuable ally, while 27 picked the UK. It says EU citizens will have understood that the old America is not coming back, right? Because this place is done. All right, finito, finished. All right, and the world is waking up to that. That's why you got certain NATO nations like Turkey wanting to join the BRICS, because they see this place collapsing. All right, it says Hoffman and Catherine D. Veris, if I pronounced that right, who analyzed the poll data of Bertelsmann. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that. They cannot hope for the best. They need to prepare for the worst. A United States that is hyper translating, sometimes arrogant and self-centered, while the U.S. and the EU citizens still see each other as their most valuable ally, and holds NATO in high regard. 8 years of American hyperpolarization at home and mixed messages abroad having taken their toll, according to Hoffman. It might be the other one that was speaking about, basically they wanted to purchase oil or whatever, go back to doing trade with Russia. I think it's the other one. Okay, it says while 73% of the EU citizens would like the bloc to play a more active role in the world affairs, right? Because America is basically whatever America says goes. Their way or the highway. America's way or the highway. All right, and these nations are getting tired of that. Even their own allies. All right, of Americans want the same thing for their own country. The poll over 26,000 people across the 27 EU member states and a representative sample of 2,500 Americans. The authors place the margin of error. Okay, I ain't gonna read no more of that. Okay, let's go to the other one. All right, so again, more EU citizens backing breaking from the U.S. So the citizens want to basically want to get away. Want the certain EU nations to try to become more independent and get away from America, basically. Because they see this place falling. Like that article said, the old America ain't coming back. This place is done, man. All right. This is the second one. It says German opposition to demand EU exit. All right, which again, Germany is iron. They're one of the iron nations. All right, in the 10 toes. It says the alternative for Germany, the AFD, the third largest opposition party in the country's nation parliament, intends to take the country out of the EU if it wins the upcoming election. Several media outlets reported on Friday, citing the party's newly drafted election manifesto. And another thing too that's causing a lot of them NATO nations ain't with that whole thing that's going on in Israel. All right, but America and the UK, because a lot of them are talking about they're not willing to send weapons anymore. All right, because basically it's genocide what they're doing. All right, so that's another major problem within the beast. They're not on one accord with that. Some of them, like America and the UK or whatever, agree with what they're doing, and some don't. All right. And what did the Lord Yahweh Shah say? A house divided against itself, a nation divided, and a house divided against itself should not stand. So there's heavy division in the house of Edom. All right. It says presently polling in the second place behind the central right CDU ahead of next year's election, have confirmed that the documents is ready, but has not released it to the public. The party also wants Germany to ditch the euro and return to stable national currencies, right? Because all these world currencies are collapsing too. The euro, the pesos, the dollars, Federal Reserve notes or whatever, or what have you, are all collapsing. All right. Then they probably believe well, it doesn't matter what they think. The next major form of making payments would be a digital money system, which is the end game. But the end game of that is you having to take the charagma, a microchip, inside your hands or your head to participate in society, to buy and sell things. All right, it says, we believe that Germany's exit from the European Union and the establishment of a new European community are necessary. Right, so again, we believe the German, which again is iron, Germany is one of the iron nations, exit from the European Union, all right, the EU, the beast, and the establishment of the new European community are necessary. The 85-page long manifesto report says the EU is should be replaced by the economic interest community after a transitioning period negotiated with both the old EU partner states and new interest parties. Media have cited that the documents as saying that adding the AFD believes the EU is trying to become a superstate. Where does it say about Russia? Okay, yeah, here we go. Well, I'm gonna read this part. It says on this website, the party lists Germany's exit from the EU as part of exit from the beast, leaving the beast agenda, and advocates a Europe of nation concept, adding excluding the U.S. All right, ultimately excluding the U.S. and turning their back on the U.S. and shooting missiles on this place, right along with the other NATO allies. It's on right along with the other NATO nations outside of Babylon. It says the European Union is incompatible with this vision. The party is also seeking to restore trade with Russia, which were disrupted by the EU sanctions imposed after the escalation of the Ukraine conflict. So, see, there you go. All right, they want to go back to doing trade with Russia again. All right, but obviously Babylon will have a huge problem with that because they're the main ones that are continuing pushing the war. All right, so it's just heavy division within the beast right now. All right, disrupted by EU sanctions imposed after the escalation of the Ukraine conflict in February 2022. The AFD text that highlighted Russia's importance as a supplier to cheap natural gas. Because again, a lot of these financial guys or a lot of these alternative media guys are saying that when that whole thing started, they said a couple of years, which now we're in 2024, which this started in 2022, a year or two. All right, them European nations are going to suffer, real deal suffer, because them not buying Russia's gas or whatever at the end of the deal is going to hurt them. And again, Biden tried to counteract it, tried to make up for it or whatever, by releasing a lot of America's oil reserves to them, to the Europe nations, which who knows how much or how what's left in the Babylonian, how much how stock that is supplies. All right, so like if we're getting tongue tied there. All right, who knows how much oil reserves America has? Because again, a lot of it he gave to them, to Europe. All right, to counteract them not to make up for them not buying Russian gas anymore. All right, so again, it says highlight Russia's importance as a supplier of cheap natural gas for German industries, according to the national media. The documents also call for sanctions on Russia to be lifted. Do you think America's gonna be happy about that? All right, and don't give me that Trump BS. Trump ain't gonna stop nothing, man. That Ukraine and Russia thing is past the point of no return. They're launching missiles into their countries, destroying, targeting. Now, Putin said they're going to target one of the, I think the capital or something like that of Ukraine. One of his chief cities. They're going to target it. All right. So that's past the point of no return, man. All right. And again, a lot of them NATO nations have a problem with what's going on in the Middle East, and America backing that. All right, Slacky. Let me see if I can Slacky brothers. That's all I really want to read from this. Slacky. All right, Slacky brother. Lord Willis brothers, you can see on the screen. I have this article here. This is from the Responsible Statecraft, and it says EU and NATO countries entirely split over our small hat, the land of the small hats right now. Iran, because you can't say their name, you get blocked below where his brothers can see it. You get your video took down. Iran and the Houthis. I'll pronounce like if I mispronounce the name. So again, there's a split about it. Some of them want to support what's going on, and some of them don't. And one of the major ones that's been speaking out against this is Turkey. It says Turkey blocks NATO and the small hats corporations, cooperation Slovakia over Gaza war, which Turkey is a member of NATO. So yeah, there's heavy division about that situation as well. So the Lord is breaking his the Lord is putting is breaking up the 10 toes, ultimately going to break up the 10 toes, and again cause America, them NATO nations, to come up against America. And we're seeing the beginning phases of that. All right, with this situation. The situation with citizens wanting to get out of the EU. All right, Germany, which again is iron, one of the iron nations, wanted to bail from, seek its own independence, basically from America. All right, so it's just heavy division, man. This is Daniel chapter 2, verse 40. And the fourth kingdom, which is the Roman Empire, should be strong as iron. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdue all things, and as iron breaketh all things, shall it break in pieces and bruise, which again was the ancient pagan Roman Empire. Verse 41. And without sawest the feet and toes, which that's the part of the statue we're in right now. The rest of the statue has been destroyed. All right, now we're at the feet and the toes, which the Lord Yahweh Shai is about to come back and destroy the toes, destroy the feet and the toes. All right. Thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of pottery clay and part of iron, right? Because you got weaker nations like Greece. Greece would be clay, a weaker nation in NATO, in the beast, or NATO and the EU, and part of iron, which Germany would be iron, and they're one of the top ones seeking Slovakia to separate from the beast, which again is in NATO and the EU. All right, the kingdom shall be divided, but there should be in it as the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with moderate clay. All right, so verse 42, and as the toes and the feet were part of iron, the part of clay, so the kingdom should be partly strong and partly broken, which it is. All right, like the Lord Yahweh Shah said, when you got all this division, man, because that's really what, if you can't come to, like the Lord said, like the scripture say, can two walk together except they be agreed. When you got division, all right, in any situation, there's always going to be a problem. All right, that's why the Lord Yahweh Shai said this. He said, this is Matthew chapter 12, verse 25, and Yahweh Shai knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom, which right now, we're in Esau's kingdom, all right, the so-called white man's kingdom, all right, which all them NATO and EU nations are all ran by Edomites. Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. Again, they should all be on the same page about everything, but it's just heavy division. All right, even in America, the Democrats and Republicans, there should be no such thing as that. They should all just come together and be on one accord. They got this idea, they got that idea, which ultimately they all working for the same person. All right, the international bankers, which they work for Satan. All right, and Satan works for the Most High. So ultimately, the Heavenly Father is the puppet master. All right, but they should be on one accord. They should all be on one accord and in perfect agreement about everything, but they're not, and that's going to lead to the downfall. That's going to lead to Esau's downfall, because the Lord is going to make the Egyptians, which the modern day Egyptians or the Edomites, destroy each other. All right, and every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Right, so every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. All right, so there's heavy division within the beast right now. Some of them want to leave, some of them want to stay. All right, again, Trump, last time he was in office, he wanted to break out of NATO because he's saying it was worth it. As a matter of fact, let's pull that up, Salakia. All right, Salakia. Slow Wiz, brother. See on the screen, I just did a simple Google search for Trump wants out of NATO. A few articles came up. It says Trump plan for NATO is emerging political. Will Trump withdraw U.S. from NATO? What analysts said. Donald Trump says he won't quit NATO if Europe pays its way, which they're not. U.S. will be out of NATO in the second Trump. Here we go. Let's put up this year. U.S. will be out of NATO in second Trump term. Former click on this one. This is for fair use purposes only. I'm not using this for any monetary gain. For educational purposes only. Fair use. All right. It says Trump will pull U.S. out of NATO if he wins election, which he already has. Ex-advisor warns. All right. So again, there you go. And that's probably why them NATO nations are feeling like that, because he's back in. He's about to be inaugurated. And again, his first term, he was talking about pulling out of NATO. So there you go. One of his former advisors said he wants to get out of NATO because it's costing too much money and they're not paying their fair share. All right, NATO better prepare for Trump than in 2016. It's still leaping. Click on this one. So he's going to stir up more controversy between the beast and the whore. All right, NATO better prepare for Trump than in 2016. It's still leaping into the unknown. All right. Nothing really there. Can NATO survive a second Trump administration? How serious is Trump about pulling out of NATO? Very. Trump says U.S. won't lead NATO European countries if they pay their fair share, which they're not, because they're bankrupt too. Trump discussed pulling U.S. from NATO. That was 2019. All right, so yeah. So the Lord, this devil getting in office. All right. He's going to stir up more controversy between the beast and the whore. Ultimately cause beast to come against the whore. All right. If, Lord willing, he pulls it out of NATO or whatever. Pulls America out of NATO. All right. Or he just keeps talking trash and, piss them off. Or he does something else to really piss them off. All right. And ultimately, ultimately, they're going to shoot missiles on this place and destroy this place. All right, Salakia. This is Revelation chapter 17, verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Which again, the beast, all right, is NATO and the EU, and the whore represents America. Even though America is a part of NATO, it's also the whore here. All right, America is the whore spoken about in the book of Revelations, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. All right. For Yahweh put in their hearts to fulfill his will and agreed to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh should be fulfilled. All right. So, could be Trump, this devil Trump, just continue to stir up, more controversy within the beast, cause more problems within the beast. And ultimately, he does something that completely and utterly, pisses them off. And the Most High is going to put the spirit on them NATO nations, which we don't know exactly what the Lord is going to do. But he could use this devil Trump to just continue to poke, again, just cause more problems within the beast. And ultimately, he does something extreme to piss them off and completely and utterly turn on them, which they are, and shoot missiles on this place. And it's going to happen because it's prophecy. All right, so, with that, I pray this lesson was edifying. It's like if I was a little all over the place. I just saw them 2 articles. Just want to do something on it real quick. I don't want to give all praises, honor, and glory to my great powers, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rekak, Wadash, Salaki, double honors to my elders and apostles of great millstone, and peace and safety to you, brothers, that push this truth and sincerity. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.